well. Has that culling the cleanse away from the Acroprism, but he's not back with a Bramble Smash.
GG, okay, GG game of this guy.
Incredibly well. Nice bubble there.
Kuri flashes over the quickness, the charm. Keine on a rampage now, 4-0 on this Syndra. Lucian 뭐해?
방금 갈려.
아래 라인. 나 올디.
로비. 루시안.
루시안.
나이스.
Keep.
Oh, nice, okay, me.
I'll today so good, you know?
Yeah, everyone's you should.
Nice guys.
Nice, one more guys. We can make it.
LLA shows up strong here in this battle of South America and take game one here with Rainbow 7 against paIN. They are one game away from making history and reaching the Swiss stage. That was a dominant game from them.
I mean, it absolutely was. At least once we got past the first 10 minutes, I think there was definitely reasons to be a bit worried. You even heard Titan say it. Oh, lane over. And it kind of was.
Yeah.
But then the rest of the game
But not for them.
And, yeah, Keine, what performance on that Syndra.
Yeah, I was worried a little bit about the Lucian piling in on the Xayah pick. I didn't like the Xayah pick in particular. And then it was like, okay, the dive's happening, and then, wait a minute. The Syndra's coming.
Yeah.
Ends up getting the picks. Mid lane, I mean, there's a lot that happened that I feel like Keine was really pushing the game state.
Yeah, but that was the thing, right? It felt like every time you had a punch coming through from paIN Gaming, there was just a counter punch coming back from R7, playing towards this bottom side, turn around that dive that had just happened on the bot lane. Then they try and make some magic happen in the mid lane. That gets turned around. It felt like R7 were just reading really effectively what paIN Gaming wanted to do. And I was a bit skeptical, as you were saying, Raz, looking at this draft, because it felt like you didn't have a lot of tools to really set your fights up. But R7 were just really good at countering a lot of the engages that paIN Gaming were going for.
Yeah, and I think in general that main problem is also just how paIN Gaming's champions interacted with that one Syndra, because you're right, I mean, the Xayah bot lane, they fell behind very early. I mean, Xayah was even forced to go for that cleanse, so not having that barrier is really easy to get tunneled into thinking you can win, but you can't, because that Lucian will outdamage you and will have that extra barrier. But as soon as that Syndra played against all these low-range champions where just multiple scatters were going to come through, the splinter stacking was going through 3 items at like 20 minutes into the game, that's just a crazy amount of damage you have to deal with.
Yeah, it's so much. And I feel like paIN, the difference could have just been in how paIN sets up the fights. Even when Drake was coming up, Jax TP's bot, instead of going through mid, they could have actually had Herald push out through mid. Then they can contest. But TP for Jax went bot lane, then they decided to Herald mid, then they pushed a fight where Jax couldn't actually be involved in it. So they're making plays happen without actually having everyone involved, or at least the play on the outset. It felt like they didn't have a clear mind of how they wanted to play their the game state out.
And that's the thing, and they're just leaving open doors to R7 actually to maneuver however they want and set up the fights the way they want. And Keine actually showed us insane reactions that we can see here in the HyperX Reflex replay, because Syndra works when it's piloted by the best players here, Daxa, and I feel like he did a great job.
I was just shouting Keine's name not once but twice in this, because this flash here was sick to follow up on lines, immediately gets the kill onto Cheetan. And the fact that Keine escapes thanks to the charm being tanked there by lines is incredibly important, because Keine then comes back into this fight. Someone goes for the engage. I was a little bit kind of, hang on a second, what's happening here? Because you get this flash, Keine though gets the double stun and the knockback on the interrupt for Wizer, so he can't follow up with the leap strike and can't finish him off. And that play there was just the solidifying of the victory for R7.
No, I completely agree. And looking at the PGB, you see where the damage is coming from. It's not like you didn't have it on paIN Gaming at all. I think going into next game, you need to stabilize this mid lane by getting rid of this Syndra, because you had the Ahri counter pick available. It did not work. I actually think that paIN Gaming has the better bot lane. They should be able to put more resource down towards Titan, and they should be able to carry through him. You can't do that though if Keine is able to take over the game on a pick like Syndra, which AD carries just get blown up by. So I think from a drafting perspective and a game state perspective, paIN needs to slow down if they don't want to get knocked out of Worlds.
And GB, Dagda, you take a step back and it just feels really interesting.
He took a natural step back. Is what you don't see.
Everyone. It's because, like, first of all, Summit had a good laning phase in what felt like should have been a bad matchup. And then also they're playing team fights better. They're looking like the better team, and we're now one game away from an LLA team making it into main stage for the first time in history.
And that's the part that's really stood out to me, is that they're looking like the better team. The macro is significantly cleaner from R7. That's not something I was expecting to say coming into today. So it really does feel like the LLA is stepping up as a massive unit. And now, as you say, a single game away from just upsetting the entire apple cart in play-ins. This would be such a monumental victory for that region.
They can make it happen, Laura. They're just one step away from it making it happen.
And yeah, one game left. One game separates them from actually making it to the Swiss stage. For the first time ever, can paIN Gaming come up with a new approach and save this road for them? Or will it actually be Rainbow 7 flying it to Swiss stage? Casters, over to you.
Thank you very much, Laura. The question that is on everyone's lips right now, will the LLA win this game and be, well, will Rainbow 7 win this game and be the first LLA team to ever qualify for an international main stage?
A momentous occasion for R7. And I'm excited. They came out swinging.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the game for them was not complicated. They just punished consistently. Summit was winning the isolated match. But bear in mind, paIN Gaming first picked the Jax.
Yeah.
They had damage confidence on it, partly as a denial away from Summit, but also as just something that we want to invest around, we want to play around that strong top side, and then we didn't really see the Jax have any impact in the game. So I feel like that their draft priorities need to shift. Clearly, you can't afford to give Keine the Syndra.
Yeah.
Now, of course, the reason why he got so fed was just a lot of over-aggression coming out from the side of paIN Gaming. From the bot lane, they could have just gotten the kill and then based, you know, instead of just sitting in the brush allowing for the Syndra, sorry, to come bot and find those opportunities. And you're going to see the Syndra added to the ban pool. So clearly the focus has shifted towards denying Keine those options, the block, the Syndra. Will we see a third mid lane ban? No, the Renekton's still going to be taken away. They do not want to allow for that blind pick.
Scano and Yone, the same for R7 here. Alongside that, they banned Ariana, and there we go. 3 mid laners removed from the pool. Wukong has been let through. We'll see if Oddie decides that's his cup of tea today, or whether something else comes out of the jungle. Obviously, Oddie, very experienced on the Wukong, very confident on that champion. It is looking like, I mean, it's already locked.
Yep.
Jack's first pick once again.
So why not just run back a similar draft? You could just go for the Cassante and the Poppy. It worked for you in game 1. I want to see a shift in the AD carry priority, though. I didn't like the Xayah. I think that it didn't give you that much control in the mid lane. Ooh, they're going to shift over to the Hwei. They want to guarantee a control mage in the mid lane. This will give... I guess they were worried about it being taken away from them, because I like what they did before where they locked it on 3. You know, because then if paIN Gaming wants to lock in their mids, at the very least, they're going to be doing it blind. But I guess they're under the assumption that the priority bot lane for paIN Gaming is what's going to come through. And now with the Lucian here, you can still ban out these mids because you know the Nami's going to follow up.
Yeah, Hwei, the third most picked for dyNquedo this year, so not too surprising that R7 like, okay, you want a control mage, you're probably going to go towards that Hwei. Corki and Azir, the top 2. And then Ahri sitting in number 4. Lucian, Nami already locked in, the Poppy and the Hwei for R7.
There's a Cassante.
And there we go.
Come as a surprise.
Very similar first set of picks for both teams. In fact, exactly the same for paIN Gaming.
Now, reminder that the Poppy is, of course, a flex pick, but I'm expecting this to go into the jungle once more. R7, we imagine that they're going to look to continue banning away mid laners. You can take away things like the Tristana, you can take away the Akali. There's a lot of options for you to limit that pool even more. They're taking their time with this one. They really want to think about what they want to remove.
And do you ever get rid of the Ahri here just because it's comfort for dyNquedo? But there's the Akali that we've already seen here at Worlds. I don't think Ahri really can win the push matchup into the Hwei. I feel like Hwei,
I mean, it's just
as soon as he gets knocked out, it's just farm, as you say. Maybe a Tristana, a possibility. Nautilus once again taken away by paIN Gaming. They went for this last time as well, so.
If you wanted to target dyNquedo specifically, Talir is something you could consider getting rid of.
Yeah.
Something that he is very comfortable on, one of his all-time better champions. But instead they're going to take away the Hwei. They don't want to allow that dive threat access onto the backline. That does mean that the Sejuani is open, though. I think the Kalista makes sense. Xayah has already shown that he's not willing to play the Jhin. Instead, he's going to go for the Xayah. I don't love this.
Yeah, the thing about it was they got put behind early. and it should have been more punishing than it was.
Oh, yes.
Keine coming across and getting a double kill is the only thing that saved that bot lane. And on the Hwei, you can still move. You get early-ish push if you can get that lost chapter, but not at level, you know, at level 6, I think it was, that he moved across earlier on. There's the Sejuani non-committal engage again from the jungle for CarioK. Not quite locked in yet, but expectations are Sejuani with a Jax, with a Nami. That's a very powerful combination. And there's the Talia that you were talking about, Veri.
I wonder if they'll decide to lock it in. They're hovering over the Ahri right now. The only reason why I like the Talia more is because I think it actually has better setup with the Sejuani, because both, I think, combo into each other nicely, whereas the Ahri is very reliant on that charm. So I think you just have a little bit more non-committal options with the Talia.
Sure.
But they're going to stick with the Ahri. They want that side lane option, and R7, they're just going to run it back, a shift in the mid lane, but I mean, it's basically the salty run back, Medic. There's a shift in the jungle for CarioK as he moves away from the Maokai and into the Sejuani. Sejuani Ahri is a slightly better matchup. I prefer Sejuani Jax on the top side of the map, giving you a much stronger 2 versus 2 to really play through this Jax. However, I think R7 still have the same strengths that they had before. Good long-range damage. I think obviously the burst is very different, and I think now in the context, Syndra had a lot of damage and got very fed and was able to really burst through any of the front line that came their way. I don't think Hwei has that same type of threat. He has a lot of versatility in his kit, obviously. He's got great poke. He does have good damage, especially when you combine his passive with his ultimate, with the Thunderbolt that he can summon.
Severing Bolt.
The Severing Bolt, thank you, Medic. But I do think that the dynamic has shifted slightly, replacing the Syndra for the Hwei. We'll see how things pan out. This bot lane really needs to have a better laning phase for R7, because I think paIN Gaming, the reason why they're running it back is because they're saying, we overstepped, we overcommitted, we made mistakes, but we can beat this bot lane 2 versus 2. We feel like we're better, so give us this matchup once again, and we'll get those advantages once again.
And they did manage to get advantages in the early game. For paIN Gaming, it's do or die. A matchup seen as an easier matchup to qualify for Swiss. No PSG, no 100 Thieves. Of course, Rainbow R7 were the team to put 100 Thieves on the other side of the bracket. And here, R7 are 1 game away from the main stage at Worlds. For the first time in the history of the Liga Latinoamerica, they can be the history makers near an evolutionary stage for the league as well. Of course, America's coming in next year, with LLA being combined with other leagues in that region. For R7, it would be a wonderful topper to 10 years of this rivalry. For paIN Gaming, I look to return to the world stage for the first time since 2015 for them, and for the first time since 2016 for the CBLOL.
I also just think that confidence is crucial, right? We look at that previous R7 game, and that's like a big game for them, you know, especially for either of these teams qualifying for the main stage. It's only getting harder from here.
It's true.
And truthfully, the reason why these regions and these teams have struggled to qualify for the main stage for so long is because the competition has only been made harder. The format shifts, the introduction of 4th seeds and 3rd seeds into the playing stage from all of the major regions has increased the caliber of competition. And so for R7 and paIN Gaming to have this opportunity to play against each other to qualify is reminiscent of the old international wildcard qualification tournaments that we used to have, and how these teams and regions often found their way into the main stage in the past.
Once again, we see Titan and Kuri gaining control of this bot lane bush. The Oracle's on Lyonz, not able to clear out that ward as well.
The script is different.
Yes.
The ward staying alive.
Just, it's such a difficult lane matchup to play, right? We've talked about the sustaining game 1 from that Gleaming Quill.
Especially if you miss it.
Yeah, well, I mean, so did Kuri. Kuri healed himself and didn't quite connect with the ebb and flow as well. So 0-0 for both the supports early on here, but there we go. And that's the pressure that you can put on Summon Ahri as well, just ticking over that little bit of extra damage. Titan and Kuri will get that level 2 off this minion, and Lyonz and Xayah just respecting that, backing all the way away.
Now, the mid lane matchup this time round, Ahri just doesn't have push early. Sorry, she doesn't. It would be nice if she did, but she doesn't. And in terms of early trading, Hwei actually has a lot of tools in his kit to be able to trade effectively. One of the new, I say new, but one of the combos I recently learned about on Hwei is you actually do a WE, where you get the empowered autos.
Okay,
you
yeah.
combine it with the more, the clasp, I think it's EE.
Yeah.
And it's a really effective way to snap apply the passive, which is a quick trade without expending the Q, which means that then as they're running away, you can then hit them with the Q on top of that.
Yeah. You also get the mana back from Stirring Lights, right? The empowered autos, so...
On top of that, you can also just do like a QE combo to push the wave, and if they're in line, then you hit them with something else, right? And you apply the passive, and it's obnoxious for Ahri, is the TLDR.
It was off the back of Keine really in game 1 that R7 were able to take that victory here. paIN Gaming have the early lead as expected. Shitan and Kuri getting the push down here. Bubble just wide. As CarioK here to defend, he's going to be able to pick up this first Scuttle Crab. No dive in the offing.
A lot of farm lost underneath the tower there, though. The knock-up also causing a small caster minion to be dropped to the tower. Quick base going to come through, but it's going to be interrupted. paIN now looking for a quick push. Maybe they can even threaten the dive, but that's why R7 just feels so concerned. And this is the concern that we talked about coming into this matchup again. We already saw what happened in the first game. Immediately, paIN Gaming were able to replicate the exact same circumstance. They're going to track to see whether or not the bot lane has gone back to base. The early base going to come in from Kuri. And you imagine that Chitan is going to stick around. As, ooh, double scuttle on the horizon for CarioK.
Really nice for CarioK here. Wizer as well getting the push in the top lane, meaning that he can come down and defend this. Oddie was looking. TP invested by dyNquedo in the mid lane. CarioK is going to come across here. dyNquedo doesn't have the charm, hits that onto Hwei. dyNquedo will take about half his health bar, maybe a little bit more. Almost 80% of it falls. He's going to have to back away. Pops the potion, but can't really stay in this lane anymore.
Nicely done. Just a bit of pressure down. And with the TP already used, it means that dyNquedo is just very sad given his circumstances. Level 3 still, though, for the bot lane of R7.
It's a big wave as well. Chitan and Kuri have the opportunity to outplay this. Heal early on. Oddie with a knockback onto Kuri. They're waiting for his flash here. The bubble comes out. Lyonz goes in for the engage, takes a tower shot, but with a blade caller, Xayah gets on the board. R7 with first blood in this fight. Chitan still trying to trade back in, but as soon as Oddie turns his head back around, Chitan has to respect it.
But so much farm is still lost. You'll see the gold, that basically all this has done is equalize it because of how much experience and gold has just been lost to the tower. Now this will increase a little bit as the wave is now being caught by Xayah. But a nice play from Oddie, a play that was very much needed given the amount of pressure that paIN Gaming's bot lane was putting down onto R7's. And at the very least, the gold will now be equalized in the bot lane 2 versus 2.
It's just the neutralizer, right? You know you're losing this matchup. If you can get it even-ish, that's a win for you. If you get out of this lane with only a couple of hundred gold between the two AD carries, you are very happy. Wizer getting the push here in the top lane, knocked back by those Antofos, jumps back in with the leap strike, but Summit just really trying to clear out the wave more than anything. It looks like Wizer actually having a much better time in this lane than he did in game 1. Keine here should be aware. You can see CarioK waiting in the wings. Oddie's on his way across, though, and should be able to cover this as CarioK backs away. Oddie was looking for those grubs, but doesn't have the push in top, so immediately begins to step away. Goes across, tries to steal away some of these honey fruit. Now, he doesn't need them, but Wizer or CarioK could have done with those. So Oddie takes them. Lyonz comes across to help out, looking for these grubs. It looks like Wizer is going to back away. Does have the TP, but I think the first 3 grubs will be going over to R7. CarioK just keeps walking forward. It's a magical ability. The collapse beginning to come in as Kuri is pinging that he has joined the battle. Summit half HP. Wizer TP's back in with that sheen complete. Oddie looks for another. CarioK able to get there in time. Oddie has to flash away. Summit could do the same, but doesn't need to. 2 grubs over to PNG.
It was a bit of a misplay there from Oddie. He wanted to smite the grub, get the level up, level 5, gives him a bit of extra HP, he can walk out to safety. Unfortunately, 1 HP!
Yeah.
So he didn't quite have the damage to secure the grub, which means that CarioK can then walk in, secure the objective, and convert it into 2. Small experience lead for CarioK, going to be able to get that level 6 early. I wonder if he's looking for the red buff. Top lane has push.
It feels a little greedy, but Oddie doesn't have the flash. CarioK stepping his way in. You can see the immediate move from Keine in the mid lane. Summit here. There's the counter-strike used by Wizer, which gives Summit a moment of freedom. I say as he just dies! That's the Grandmaster's might from Wizer. Just gets the kill. Chitan diving in the bot lane as well. Has that level 6. Leon's going to try and block it. Xayah almost falls to the ebb and flow. All across the board, it's coming up paIN.
So these are the individual talents we were talking about in game 1. The laning phase is where we can see these paIN paIN Gaming members really shine. Wizer was struggling in this matchup in game 1. He was falling behind. I think he got frozen on by Summit, which resulted in this huge experience deficit early on in the lane. But this time around, he finds a solo kill onto Summit. A much-needed confidence boost, and also a big statement. They ran back 4 out of the 5 champions that they lost in the previous game and said, you know what, we misplayed. We know we can get the better of you. We just need to take the Syndra away. They've done it. And now they've already found themselves nice leads, both in top and AD.
It's trust in your plays, trust in your players, right? dyNquedo has had a great year on this Ahri. I think about a 78% win rate on it after losing game 1. Shouldn't remove your trust from him. Summit here, after the Counter-Strike is used and he's able to escape it, I think he's fine, but Wizer is all the wiser for this play.
I mean, Q, W in, and then flash ulti into the passive third hit.
Yep.
Ooh. I think he also got the W as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Summit was not expecting that, had his own flash as well. Only had the opportunity to get away from it. Oddie hex flashing, but with Cheetan dashing back, won't be able to find and engage. The first Drake is still on the cards for either of these teams. Last time we saw a Grubs for Drake exchange. Here we saw a Grubs for Grubs exchange between the two.
I'm very interested to see how these fights play out. It's, early Dragons in the early game so far in this series has been very timid. Neither team really has gotten too chaotic, and honestly I was kind of impressed from game 1 with the amount of cross-mapping that was going on. paIN Gaming had a tendency to overstack in terms of members to be able to secure picks or objectives, and R7 was constantly actually trading on the map, whether it be for pot tower, mid tower, various neutrals. See if something similar happens in this game, with paIN Gaming having the lead that they do, not having to be scared of a 4-0 Syndra after 10 minutes.
Yeah, it makes it slightly easier for you when you know that unleashed power isn't an option.
And look at Cheetan. I mean, perfect CS right now, has been completely dominating in the 2 versus 2, has pretty much a full level of experience advantage over his laning counterpart. Root comes through.
Dashes away, the tidal wave used, just
Big
in
though.
case R7 wanted to go any further. I think if Lyonz had been 6, would have made a little bit more sense, because obviously he would have had the quickness, but at him only having level 5, they can dive it, Fetty. Whether it'll go well or not is a sight we have yet to behold.
He's coming.
Here we go. Wizer no flash. Used it before. Summit has the all out. Cheetan there with the culling. Lyonz just going to tank up as much of it as he can. Oddie going in. There's the knockback. Severus Presence coming in as well, and there's the all out. And they can definitely damn dive this, Fetty. Severing bolt from long range for a little bit of an assist from Keine, but that was all Summit and Oddie.
I mean, I'm surprised they made that work, really, because Wizer, he knew the dive was coming. He was doing his best to keep the minions from going underneath the tower, but Oddie made the smart call of knowing we can't wait here any longer. We've got to execute upon this, and we've got to make it work. So the beautiful part of what Oddie did was that he flashes over the wall and actually gets Wizer out of tower range, meaning that now Summit and Oddie have a lot less to be afraid of when it came to committing to that dive. With the extra damage that they got from Keine, they were able to secure that kill.
Important thing for paIN, though, is that they are going to get at least 4 grubs, likely 5 in totality. They may stop at 4. 5 does give you a little bit of extra true damage, but you're not getting more might spawning from it. CarioK will go back and look towards that 5th one. With the push that you already have from Cheetan and Kuri, it makes sense. They're actually even moving them up towards the top side with that bolstering of the defensive of the tower falling off at 10 minutes. They can get more plates in top lane if they're up here. Resetting, defending CarioK in case anyone decided to fight him around the grubs, and now can try and push Summit back.
Yeah, I mean, you make a great point. By having all these extra grubs, it's just so much easier to siege into these objectives, and it's just like a small advantage that you can gain, because especially you look at the bot wave, Wizer's able to push this one through, but he may have overstepped.
Does have flash. He'll get
level
1
9.
plate. He is level 9, as you say, not back, not tanking the tower. Counter-Strike comes out, rooted up with the Blade Caller. Wizer does still have the flash. Will he use it, or will he save it? I think the answer's save. He'll pop the Grandmaster's Might. That's a much shorter cooldown. In the end, he falls. A good gank there from Oddie.
Yeah, I mean, just a misstep from Wizer. He really can't afford to be pushing it alone, especially with the jungler on the top side of the map. Summit respecting the threat of a dive. Of course, ultimately, the advantage that paIN Gaming wanted was access to this top lane tower. By pushing in that bot wave, yes, they do lose their top laner, but they're already going to start chipping away this tower, and they can funnel more gold into Cheetan's pockets. So, going to be doing something similar, but not at the same rate, and you're seeing the value of those grubs live.
Glacial Prison used. Lyonz here to defend. Ease the charm once again. CarioK's going to get caught up in the charm. Oddie coming in with that Steadfast Presence, Smiling Despair as well on the Sejuani. Knocked up with the Keeper's Verdict. CarioK cannot escape the hammer from Oddie. who brings it down. R7 reacting well to a mid lane play.
dyNquedo not really able to make much off the back of that play, and again, it's members of paIN just not respecting the numbers advantage that R7 have. Like, yes, on paper you're sitting there saying, Kaine's overextended in mid, but the only reason why he's overextended is because he knows that his team is right behind him. He's playing with the knowledge that he has Oddie and Lyonz to support him, and Lyonz on this Rakan once again demonstrating his expertise on the champion. Great peel provided. TP available for Keine, but instead he's going to go catch bot wave. And with the cannon there, this should comfortably go over to Xayah as well. So even though paIN are finding advantages in the bot lane, the rest of the map is very quickly falling apart.
And it is still a slight gold lead for paIN overall. About 500 ahead. You can see the lead for Chitan there. 600 gold in advantage. Alongside that, Kuri has an equal lead, has now finished that Imperial mandate on the Nami, which just gives the Lucian even more damage. You can see the culling threat onto Xayah. We've already seen an AD carry die to a culling. We're not expecting the damage. Lyonz coming in from the side will be able to dash back and join up with his teammate, but might stay around to defend. Can, of course, use that duo recall, the Lovers recall, right at the last moment if he so desires. But full HP and with still 2 wards in his pocket, he'll stay out on the map for the moment. Keine needs to be a little cautious here because Kuri and CarioK are making a beeline for this blue side jungle just to defend Wizer on the push. More gold in the pockets of paIN. Summit won't be able to take the tower in the top lane as a recompense, but he will get a bit of chip damage onto it.
I mean, a lot of the gold that paIN Gaming have is thanks to these 2 ADC towers that they've been able to secure. As R7 leads in terms of the kills.
Oddie's by himself.
Yeah,
there.
he started the Herald. I did notice this happening, but once again, he's completely isolated.
Glacial Prison not quite connecting onto Oddie. Summit there to jump in as well. Kuri and Chitan have the push. They'll force Lyonz away. The Rift Herald resets. CarioK still looking for more. Lands the permafrost. Summit's now going to be flanked as Chitan's on his way across. Hex splash from Oddie straight. Face planting into the wall, but gets over afterwards. There's the quickness as well. But this is only a poppy. The Keeper's verdict stopped with the tidal wave. Keine came in from the top side. Summit looking for a little bit more. Chitan flashes the wall. Spiraling Despair is on him, but Despair only felt by R7. Wizer here to join the party. A 1v2 for the moment. Xayah trying to escape. Has that Feather Storm, but the empowered lamppost from Wizer slaps him into the dirt.
Skirmish after skirmish, paIN Gaming get exactly what they wanted. Not a full-on 5v5, not a front-to-back brawl, but Oddie being isolated around the Herald, Summit using his skills to provide peel, the bot lane of paIN Gaming catching Keine isolated in the top lane. There's not a Syndra burst that they have to be worried about. He's fully confident that he can commit to that play and find that kill. The kill score was 4-1 moments ago. Now they find themselves 4-4 with a 2.5k gold lead.
It's a huge lead now for paIN Gaming. Next Drake on the cards for them as well. They can continue stacking those up. It is a Chem Drake, so not the biggest priority, but we'll see what the soul is. With Cloud and Chem already off the cards. The aggression from Chitan as well, flashing the wall straight into the face of that spiraling Despair. Keine really couldn't react in time, couldn't get that fear down. Xayah here, no Featherstorm for him. And Lyonz realizes he needs to help out his teammate. This tower almost down, those mites helping out, of course. The wave cleared just in time. Chitan stepping forward will get the auto down. Already has a BF sword alongside that Essence Reaver.
It's 3 tasks to 0, Medic.
Yep.
PNG have just been leveraging the strength of this bot lane all around the map. Wizer, while he did get caught out a few times, he's still a very powerful Jackson. Now they've set their sights on Summit, who's still trying to chip away at this tower.
Betty at Summit in a side lane. It's kind of what he does. Gets caught out, a little bit overextended, doesn't know where anyone else is on the map right now, and dyNquedo, Kuri, and Chitan are looking to show him what's up. And Tofo's come out. dyNquedo uses the Spirit Rush. Summit's able to dash away. Flashes the charm as well. But CarioK and Wizer like having none of this. CarioK dashes in with the Arctic Assault. Summit doesn't really have many tools left at his disposal, and they're standing on the right side of the wall to avoid the all-out. He bought some time, which allows Keine some time on the bot lane tower, and a little bit for Xayah in mid.
I will say, they sent 5 people top, Medic.
Gotta kill him, Betty.
But
Gotta kill him.
But I don't think it was
It's Cassante,
worth it.
Betty. 4,500 HP, 15-second CDs.
I mean, yes.
And they get the Rift Herald.
I mean, they do,
Perfection.
and that's valuable, I will acknowledge, but they gave up mid-tier 1 and bot-tier 1.
No, mid-tier 1 still stands. They gave us some damage on the mid-tier 1.
Oh no, top-tier 1.
Top-tier 1 they did
I knew,
give up,
yeah,
yeah.
so 2 towers ended up falling, and the only good news is that the top tower, I mean, didn't give local gold over, I guess.
That's true.
But sure, you killed Summit, your gold difference has decreased a little bit.
But we saw in that MasterCard lane economy snapshot for a second there just how far Cheetan is ahead. 1,000 gold, his lead in the bot lane. He also, like Lucian Nami is just such a deadly combination. Infinity Edge and Essence Reaver for him. Alongside that Imperial Mandate, he is absolutely blasting now.
This is a very strong Lucian indeed. Cheetan, a player that, I mean, he's not a rookie,
no,
right?
Like, he's been around a while.
I remember when we cast him for his first time on the international stage, right?
I remember forgetting his name in an interview.
Yeah.
In the middle, it was one of my first ever international casts. I just entirely forgot his name.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that he's been competing now for 7 years, and the man is an experienced veteran, and it's great to see that, especially in situations like this on the world stage, he's able to play with this level of confidence, because it's what you need. With paIN, with the backs against the wall, down a game in this best of 3, it's that confidence that they're going to need. As Dragon, about 3 minutes away, 1.5 minutes till Baron. It's at this stage where we sometimes see paIN's teams crumble, fall apart. Leveraging your strength in the side lanes, setting up proper vision control around the jungle, leveraging that pro into moving into sides, controlling objectives. Getting lost in the fights, getting caught out is often what we'll see where these mid-games can devolve into chaos and skirmishing. Now, the good news is that Lucian is a champion that thrives in these sort of chaotic skirmish environments. So they're definitely set up for success as another culling comes down, and so is immediately forced off the mid-wave. But paIN Gaming, they don't really have much to play for right now, so it's just a matter of catching waves, controlling vision, and working towards those next core items.
I like the argument behind dash forward, use the culling, then force Xayah to back, and then Rift Herald off the back of that, right? You're denying the enemy one man so you can try and get a charge on a tier 2. Probably not going to take the full tier 2 until you manage to win a fight, but I do like the idea of that little bit of chip damage, especially with the Rift Herald still being available for CarioK. But at the moment, as you say, just waves shoved out, waves caught. It's a nice game of back and forth between these two teams.
Kind of has to be. Of course, R7 would love to be able to secure that mid-tier 1, but it's extremely difficult when Cheetan has so much control over it. Ahri's wave clear at this point is also pretty comfortable, which means that they should be able to hold on to this wave, sorry, this tower for a good while, giving them a lot more control when it comes to access to the river. Keine once again being shadowed by his support. This means that dyNquedo gonna have to showcase that respect. But it's PNG setting up nicely around the Dragon. They have the push in mid, they've got the push in bot. They haven't really invested much vision just yet, but here it starts to come through.
Yeah, just trying to get that superficial vision moved into a little bit of a deeper spot. Drake up in a minute's time would be the third of the game for paIN Gaming. There's the culling once again into the back of Oddie. Xayah taking a chunk as well. You can see Oddie half HP. Glacial Prism coming out as well. Lyonz gets the charm onto the back line, and the Spiraling Despair hits Kuri as well. Storm Surge procs, and Lyonz goes down, but the support's traded by the mid laners.
Keeping track of what was used in that exchange as well. A lot of summoners gone from the bot side of the map of R7. Ahri still has the ultimate 2 in exchange for Kaine's. Looks like he's going to go back to base, which means that this Dragon is going to be a difficult one to contest. There's the ult.
Grasping more, just clipping dyNquedo as he tried to jump in. The ult goes out, as you say, that Spirit Rush charm just wide, didn't connect onto Xayah or Keine. Xayah does still have that cleanse. paIN Gaming just trying to deny as much away from R7 as possible. Take the camps, take their vision, and hopefully take their lives and take us to a game 3.
The support to return to the map. Lyonz close to level 9. A couple extra stats on the horizon. There they are secured. And here we go once again. Set up around the Dragon. Wizer with nice push on the bot wave. Some objective just going to be started.
Yeah, he's just aggroing the Dragon. Slows you as well, this Ocean Drake. Wizer, looks like he's going to back, does have the TP. R7 should know he was there because he was clearing out a ward. Drake down to 3,000 Summit on that front line. Rift Herald charging through that mid lane. Now good. Keeper's Verdict will knock him back, and Oddie secures the Drake. Lyonz dashing forward, dashes back with the grand entrance. Wizer still looking for that flank position, but he is veered away by the Hwei. Can they get out of here is the big question. Cheetan dashing forward, Pathmaker out. Wizer trying to get onto the backline, but dyNquedo has been caught up with the Spiraling Despair. Falls low. Keine falling lower though. Wizer takes the kill. Another counter-strike lands. The stun is Oddie who has to flash away. Meanwhile, down towards the bottom side, Cheetan is fighting with Xayah and he takes him out. Even through the Feather Storm, Cheetan finds the kill.
In the skirmishes and in the chase, paIN Gaming are able to find more kills. They do concede the Dragon, denying them soul point, but potentially they open up a Baron opportunity opportunity. They're able to push in mid. They make their way towards the objective. All 5 members are alive, and with only Oddie there to potentially steal, paIN Gaming are set up to bring us 1-1.
You can see the pings from paIN Gaming. They're like, we need vision behind this pit because that Poppy has a Hex Splash, and damned if we get out of Worlds on a Hex Splash smite. Oddie currently working on those Razor Beaks. dyNquedo here dodges away from the knock-up. Oddie just needs to be stopped. Orb of Deception coming out means that Hex Flash can't quite be online yet. Glacial Prison used as well. This is good so far from paIN Gaming to keep the enemy jungler out of the pit. paIN Gaming will take the Baron, and now the next 3 minutes well in their control.
A worthwhile trade for paIN Gaming as they're able to just run down their opposition. Nice knockback from the ultimate of Oddie. Good damage initially onto Lyonz, but notice at the start of the fight, R7 is just straight onto the retreat. You're seeing the difference between the Hwei and Syndra, where you're so much more scared to face check, and then Keine takes a very dangerous path through the jungle, allowing for the Jax easy access onto that mid laner, flashes in, knowing that there's little that they can do to stop him. Meanwhile, the AD carry is left completely isolated. Cheetah working with his jungler to secure that kill, results in a Baron.
dyNquedo has the flash here. Oddie looking for something. Lyonz going in with the quickness as well. The charm lands onto Lyonz, though. He tries to dash back forward. Knocked out. The charm expired by that point. Cheetah now pushing in the bottom lane as R7 need to retreat. They need to get back, but they don't have those empowered recalls. And now with the Baron buff, paIN Gaming pushing in, looking for those inhibitor towers. They have 2 waves synced up right now. The mid wave almost taken out by Keine. But the bot lane inhibitor already down to a 3rd HP. The wave, only a cannon minion there, now bolstered. PNG continue to push forward. Cheetah knows there's no quickness, there's no threat from Lyonz diving in. He still has that cleanse as well. The mid inhib tower stands with a sliver of HP. For the moment, R7 are able to hold on to their inhibitors. Cheetah and Kuri waiting around the corner. Holy hell! Xayah almost gets atomized by the damage there from Cheetah. The rapid fire cannon doing absolute work for him right now. It will take him a while to get through Summit, but still devastation so far from PNG, from Cheetah. A 3,000 gold lead for him. Wizer as well, 2.5k ahead.
I just have to say how much I admire the fact that paIN Gaming decided to run back such a similar draft and say, our bot lane won before, they can do it again.
On Keine, he's just able to survive. The tidal wave coming out. Keine will be able to get back to base. The flash forward. Summit looking for something here as well. As paIN Gaming were able to disengage, Kuri gets out of Summit's embrace. The mid lane inhibitor tower still somehow standing. paIN Gaming were looking for it, but couldn't quite find that tiny little bit more damage to take out Keine.
Wow. Such a shift. And I think what's super impressive to me is how, for the most part, when R7 got the lead, they largely cleaned out the game very smoothly. And then paIN Gaming, in a very similar fashion, they've been able to open up the inhibitor on the bot side of the map. The mid lane tower has taken significant damage. And as long as paIN Gaming continue to take this patient approach, they know that they have the item advantage. They know they're so much stronger. And with the Baron wearing off, they can just set it for the next dragon and continue to play out this game methodically. A 7k gold lead. They're looking to bring us to game 3. And in convincing fashion.
Yeah, they should be able to do it from this sort of position. Keine is at 2.5 items, but you can see how that gold difference has just exploded for paIN Gaming. Not willing to bow out of Worlds just yet. A Swiss spot on the line. The CBLOL, 8 years since the region last made it for paIN 9. Obviously R7 fighting for the right to be the first ever LLA representatives in that World Swiss stage. But right now they are fighting against a brick wall. paIN are very willing just to play it methodically, play it slow. Your soul is delayed. Obviously, you won the fight around the last Drake, but I don't think R7 are going to give you a fight around this one. They just want to defend, want to clear out these minions, try and get Keine 2-3 items.
I genuinely think this time around, R7 just don't actually have the damage.
Yeah.
Like, I think in game 1, the fact that Syndra got fed was obviously helpful, but Syndra just changed the dynamic of the comp so much.
True.
Compared to what is a very traditional control mage in Hwei, who, like, I guess has good amount of burst, but just the damage isn't comparable. Summit
gets the Intofos, Glacial Prison going wide. Summit goes in with the all out, but that's half his health just gone immediately. And alongside it, the rest of it. Chitan on a killing spree on this Lucian. Summit maybe could have got out when that Glacial Prison missed, but CarioK was looking for the flash predict, and now Xayah down to half HP as well. The mid lane inhib will be forfeit. Pretty sharpish here as paIN Gaming begin to raise the base of R7 to the ground.
A 9-day performance between Game 1 and Game 2 for Summit, getting caught out multiple times. His death may lead to Game 2 falling to the hands of paIN Gaming.
In with the charm, only onto Oddie. There's the tidal wave as well. CarioK caught up with the blade caller. Wizer just looking for the towers. Lyonz tries to get in, but an Arctic Assault stops him in his track. Another charm cleansed immediately by Xayah, who has to use the Feather Storm defensively. Wizer there, the grasping more on him. It's still not enough damage to get through the Sterax, the Sundered Sky, the Trinity Force that Wizer has collected across this game.
A flawless game from Chitan. His spacing, his aggression in the fights. Able to do so much damage as well, with the charms finally starting to connect from dyNquedo. They secure 2 inhibitors. They're on so point. Ooh, base is going to come through. And now the Baron becomes the next big objective for paIN Gaming to play for. No reason not to take your time. They could, if they want to, just commit to the top tower. They know with super minions sieging in the bot and mids, they could even send Ahri off onto one of the lanes with the threat of the TP. The bases are a little disconnected on the side of paIN Gaming just because dyNquedo's recall got interrupted. But they're in a great spot. Look at this wave on the bot side of the map. Always the threat of a TP with the potential end on the line. Only a single Nexus tower stands.
Yeah, Kaine's going to be the one sent across to deal with that. Summit needs a bit of a culling, but with the TP coming in, dyNquedo just wants to join up with his team. Sharpish. Keine should be able to get the push down towards that bottom side, but R7 really don't have an avenue to approach this. No way into their own jungle, no vision around the Baron. They may have one ward in the pit looking at the mini-map right now. They have one just up towards the top side. Yeah, they do. So paIN Gaming haven't truly denied that vision, but if you just play in the enemy base for 3 minutes, you know those wards are going to expire anyway. Don't have to rush it. You are well in control of this game, 8,000 gold ahead. Looks like CarioK now going to jump into the pit, and they still haven't used an Oracles. So this is fully known by R7. dyNquedo there looking for the charm. Oddie poking his head around the corner. Xayah doing the same. Currently they only see Chitan and CarioK there. Wizer looking for that flank position. Summit on the front line. TP coming in by Keine. Glacial Prism across the wall. Xayah low with that Feather Storm. Wizer jumps in immediately onto Keine. He's knocked into the wall. Summit trying to survive the front line. Wizer gets one already, and dyNquedo is dashing across that wall. Spiraling Despair is the name of the game for R7. The Hwei ultimate does nothing. dyNquedo has to flash away from the Molten Fissure. Oddie gets the slam into the wall, but he's slammed into a coffin by PNG.
Wizer just gets so much access onto the backline. A great flank from him from the Krugs allows him to just decimate the R7 carries and clean up the fight for PNG. With the Nexus in their eyes, PNG are going to bring us to 1-1.
One more for the road, CB LOL. One more for the road. Liga Latin America, Keine and Lyonz can't even survive on their fountain. They are aced, their Nexus falls, and we're going all the way to Game 3.
A commanding response with an extremely similar draft to Game 1. paIN Gaming's bot lane did so much work in this game. Chitan with a 5-0-7 scoreline, Wizer with a solo kill. They've done an incredible job of bouncing back, which means that there's only one game left to determine who will qualify for the main stage. Don't go anywhere, as we go to a quick break.
前ブラッシュするよね。CS を取られるとき。
Ai là người tự tin nhất và dám flash lên phía trước? Anh đâu? Mi. Thì thường thì động lực của anh để flash lên phía trước là anh hiểu rõ cái tình huống và anh flash lên để outplay đối thủ.
I think for sure Mirwin. He just flashed on cooldown. Even if he needs to save it for the next fight, he's just flashing for the kill.
And if you're wondering why I move the way I do, I just feel so good.